Добрий день, ми вітаємо вас в українському.
Good afternoon. Welcoming at Ukraine Media Center. Today we have a very important briefing which is about the subject which is the most painful for the whole Ukraine. This briefing is about our defenders in Mariupol. The whole Ukraine and the whole world has been watching over 2 months how in those inhumane conditions under everyday shelling our brave defenders have been defending Mariupol and Ukraine as a whole. During this period of time, they have become the symbol of decency and decent behavior at war. They have been defending and protecting civilians for quite a long time. At the moment, with the assistance from international organizations, the evacuation of civilians from Azovstal Steel Factory has been completed, but we still have this humanitarian issue of evacuating the wounded people and evacuating those defenders who still remain at Azovstal. Our today's briefing is, main heroes at this briefing are of those defenders of Ukraine who are at Azovstal. I'd like to introduce Natalka Zarytska, wife of the soldier from Azov Regiment, defender of Mariupol, who is now there in Azovstal. And our second speaker will be Evgeny Sukharnikov, the father of a soldier. Natalia, you're welcome. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who has joined efforts to save our defenders in Mariupol. My husband is there at Azovstal. And we are calling on everybody, please save and rescue our defenders. We apply to all communities, all countries worldwide, please help. Among those servicemen, there are people of different genders, different ethnicities, different religions. Russia has imposed that sign of Bandera people on Ukrainians in the same way Russia has been imposing that sign of neo-Nazis on our defenders. But this is not true. These are lies. We have to be based on proven facts and not on some strange designations. I'm always saying that everything has the reason and the cause and the pretext. Russia has found that pretext in saying that they fight Nazis here, but actually there was the real cause of what they're doing. Azov Regiment, all our defenders are capable units. They were defending and they continued defending us against invaders, resisting invaders. How we can help and where we can help? When in mid-February I was going to see my husband there in Mariupol and ask when I should better come, he said the better moment is right now. I ask everybody, please do something to save people where you are, do something where you are at the moment. We don't have time. War has changed the time framework of our life. If the world has allowed this monster, which is the Russian Federation, to develop, then this world has to fight this monster with joint efforts. While my husband, with his comrades in arms, concentrates fire on themselves, I apply to other people in this world, strong people, including esteemed President of the Turkish Republic, Recep Erdogan. Sorry, the interpreter cannot understand Turkish. Please help.
To save lives of our soldiers, of our warriors in Mariupol. Ви маєте
You have some weight, some authority worldwide. We love our husbands, like the Sultan of Turkey, Haseki Roxolana loved her husband, the Sultan of Turkey. My husband has been recording the chronicle of this war. He sends me his notes every day. There has been a lot of messages on Telegram, and we know what is happening there at Azovstal Steel Factory. Those are inhumane conditions. There are hundreds of wounded people who don't have their legs, their arms, nor any anesthetics. They die of simple wounds, but there are also heavy wounds. It's about agony, it's about pain, it's about inhuman conditions. There is shelling from the sea, from the air, and from the ground. Today, Mariupol is the biggest wound on the global scale. This is the biggest tragedy of the 21st century. My husband, when he called me, described the situation as apocalypse. In mid-April, on the 17th of April, there was a marriage in Azovstal, our marriage. So we had our marriage there. Russian occupiers brought us some gift. Instead of those salutes, my husband was shelled with prohibited cluster ordnance, which is prohibited worldwide. I really ask, save people, please save people from those intolerable conditions. I call on everybody. 2 years ago, my husband made a present to me. He sent me a book. This book has a symbolical name. In those Storms of Steel by Ernst Junger, which is known worldwide. This book describes the terrible aspects of war. But believe me, that's nothing compared with what's now happening in Mariupol at Azovstal. Occupiers from Moscow have been destroying the defenders of Mariupol, defenders of Ukraine, defenders of the whole world. And every day then strengthen this brand of heroism and strong will that our warriors carry. Please hear us and save the best people. Thank you. Natalia, I see that you have your son with you. Sashko, do you want to say something? Please save our warriors from Mariupol. There are many wounded people there. Please save Mariupol. Thank you. Thank you, Evgen. You're welcome. Evgen Sukharnikov, father of a soldier. I would be glad to say good afternoon, but I don't use this phrase for quite a while. So, hello and thank you for sharing the information, for what you're doing. My son is now also there at Azovstal Steel Factory, in that hell there, right now. In these very minutes, they maintain the defense there. We can say this is war. War is also harsh. Now every Ukrainian has been able to understand it, but what's going on now is not war, it's massacre, it's about violation of all convention, it's about killing, just killing those people under siege. And we want extraction. We emphasize that there should be extraction of our people, that garrison of Azovstal, with wounded people and with dead bodies of their comrades in arms. There has been this practice, there have been cases in world history, Dunkirk during World War II, and there are later examples, for example, in Syria too, that procedure takes place from time to time. By the way, it's implemented there with Russian involvement, where warriors with wounded people, with dead bodies are extracted to a third country, to a neutral territory, and they remain there until the end of military action. without returning to the war anymore. This is an international procedure, a recognized one, and it would be a solution, it is a solution on which we insist. We, parents, wives, relatives of those who are there now. A week ago we launched our petition calling for extraction, and it has already got almost 1.5 million votes. It means that there has been big support for this idea in the society. We are just lacking the main thing, which is implementation of this idea. We need a hero. We need a person who would have sufficient political authority to implement this procedure. From a political perspective, if we look at the Black Sea region, from political and even geographical perspective, we understand that such country could be, first of all, Turkey. And such hero could be President of Turkey, Mr. Erdogan. And I personally call an esteemed President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, asking him, as male for male, as a father for father, please help get my son and his comrades in arms from there. You have certain experience of implementing similar operations in Near East, Middle East. We know it from mass media. We ask you to send a civilian ship without any weapons to take our people from there. There are certain risks, we understand those. There are certain risks about what may happen. And of course, in the process of such extraction, our people may be destroyed, but we don't have much choice. Either we take that risk and launch that procedure, or we just keep watching online how, on the global scale, how people are killed there. I really ask you to carry out this extraction. Mr. Erdogan, you have this historic opportunity to become a person whose name will be recorded in the global history as a hero, as one who brings peace, as peacekeeper. We ask you for this help. Thank you. I see that we have a leader of Crimean Tatars, Mr. Mustafa Jamilov, as our guest here. Mustafa Aga, would you like to add something? You're welcome. Dear friends, Mariupol is our pain, our pride. Contribution of the warriors in Mariupol to defending Ukraine's independence and freedom is just invaluable. Now they have paid their duty, and we have to make every step to rescue them. We maintain constant contacts with soldiers, with warriors, and we try to do something to the best of our ability. At the end of April, I received a video appeal from the commander of the 36th Battalion, Sergei Volinsky, for President Erdogan. We immediately got the text translated into Turkish and sent it to President Erdogan via his advisor. On the same day, President Erdogan and his deputy Padak received that text. At the same time, that appeal the next day was broadcasted on Haberturk and CNN Turk TV channels. It was published in Sabah and other leading newspapers in Turkey. In a couple more days, the same video appeal a video appeal to Erdogan was received from Dr. Samziuddin. And again, we sent it. It has been published. 1 week ago, on the 4th of May, we had Erdogan's advisor and press secretary, Ibrahim Kalin, visiting us here, and he described what they are doing in order to rescue our heroes in Mariupol. Erdogan spoke with Putin twice. Additionally, Ibrahim Kalin spoke with the Minister of Defense of Russia, Shoigu. And he said, we have a ship in our port in Istanbul which can take 2,000 people on board. At any point in time, as soon as we come to terms, they will come to the port of Berdyansk, and on the same ship there will be buses which will bring people from Mariupol to Berdyansk, because the port of Mariupol has been mined. They will come to Berdyansk accompanied by Turkish observers, and we, the Turkish side, undertake and oblige that until the end of this war, they will be guests of the Turkish Republic. So until the end of this war, they will not get back to this war. Shoigu responded by saying that they agree to release the civilians, but the servicemen have to surrender, and Russia will guarantee normal treatment of those. Let Zelensky order them to surrender. Ibrahim Kalin told him, look, no one commander-in-chief worldwide can tell his servicemen that they should surrender. We propose, as the Turkish intermediary, we propose exchanging your prisoners of war, and there have been more than 1,000.
With your relatives in Azovstal, what have you told them and what they have told you? Thank you.
Спілкування з моїм сином.
Well, in the last weeks, communication with my son is not like this. Like we use Skype and we wave at each other. We ask each other, "What have you eaten today?" It's not like that. No. In the last weeks, all I received from my son is just a small, short message: "I'm alive. I'm alive." I cannot ask him anything, any questions, because it may put their safety at risk. I cannot say anything other than saying that we remember them, that we don't forget them, that we keep fighting for them, that with us we have you, great people, journalists, who appeal to the whole world, saying that help is needed, that we make everything possible. That's our communication. It's like sort of one way. My husband connected last time on the 7th of May, and I remember all those short messages. I have them in Telegram, and I reread them in nights, and I reread every word of those. And in his message he said, "My little one, it's unlikely that we'll see each other. The siege around Azovstal becomes narrower and narrower. This is the end for us." Before that, when he connected, when he reached me, during 3 weeks, between battles, between combat actions, he kept writing the last letter, a long letter, 15 pages. He took picture of it and he told me, read it when there is no communication for more than 3 months. This is the messages. Next question.
Television poll said, do you think that the authorities in Kyiv are doing enough to get your boys from Mariupol?
Ну, подивіться.
Look around. Do you have our relatives, our parents, our children, our husbands here? If you don't see them around, then it's insufficient. if somebody else also wants to answer some question, then you're welcome. If some other relatives, well, you're welcome. We believe, we want to believe, we would like to believe that they do sufficient things. But, you know, belief is good breakfast, but bad supper, bad dinner. We want to see a result of those actions. Thank you. Next question, please.
From the Daily Telegraph in London. A question for the father, if I may. Could he tell us a little bit more about his son, what his motivation was for joining the Azov Brigade, for example, how long he has served there, what kind of things he's done, and how he felt as a father when he first realized that his son was going to be defending Mariupol and that there was a possibility his son might not come back?
My son joined Azov regiment. This was his conscious choice. He is not a conscript. He is not an 18-year-old conscript who does not fully understand how this world is structured. No, he had time. He was in the university. When he was 18, when he got 18, he was a university student. So according to Ukrainian laws, he had his conscription delayed. He had to join the army after he graduates from the university. Ironically, his specialization in the university is journalism. Basically, his call sign is reporter because of this, because of he being a student. And after he graduated from the university, he worked a lot as a journalist, but then when the time came, he told me and my wife, yes, I will join Azov regiment. Why? Because they are the best. Those guys are the best. And of course, it was very difficult for us. I was jokingly saying, I'll pay somebody to break your leg so that you would not go anywhere. But I realized that this is his choice and I'm not entitled to hinder it. Of course, back then I did not know how bad it will be. I knew that Azov regiment is there in Mariupol. They are on the front line, the last front line before the occupied territory. I understood that they're in the first line of that performance, so to say. I don't know how I would behave 3 years ago if I were to know back then that there would be this war, this terrible war. I'm not sure that I would behave in a different way because I respect my son's choice. So basically he has been there, serving there for 3 years since 2019. This autumn it will be 3 years of his military service. And during these days, often I hear, you know, we cannot even imagine what we feel. I hear it a lot from people with whom I speak. We cannot imagine what we feel, people who know about the situation. Then I answer, yes, you don't imagine it. It's impossible to imagine. I'm just dying every day. Thank you. More questions? I'm Ruslan Agaev from Azerbaijan. First of all, I'd like to express my deep respect for each of you and great support for your activities. You very clearly explained to us why do you appeal to Mr. Erdogan. Turkey does have experience, Turkey does have capabilities, but as far as I understand, the problem is about the political pressure to be exercised on Russian leadership. Did you apply to any other organizations, any political or public leaders? And if so, please tell us whom you addressed, whom you called. I called for everybody and all of them personally. I sent messages, sent letters from myself and other mothers to the Embassy of Germany, Embassy of the United States, Embassy of Italy, Embassy of France, Embassy of Turkey. We, even though it was meetings and rallies were prohibited, still we came to the Turkish embassy, we came to Maidan. I sent messages to our political leadership asking for our help. I applied to the World Ukrainian Congress, World Congress of Ukrainians. I gave 20 or maybe 30 interviews. I have my personal page, Chronicles of this War, on social media. And now I am here in order for the whole world to hear about the crime being committed in the 21st century, unprecedented crime. World, understand, this is not a war, this is murder. Next question, please. I'm Maria Hanchar from Ukraine Forum. My question is for the relatives of defenders of Azovstal. Do you know anything about their health condition? What about water supply? Maybe some relatives here in the audience. Some mother here. Dear media, I'd like to sincerely thank you for sharing information about problems. I'm a mother of Azov soldier who has been in Mariupol since 2014. He was there since the very beginning in the first membership of Azov regiment. Now with his comrades and others, with all defenders of Mariupol, he is in Azovstal Steel Factory. Every time when I receive a message, a short message, we stay strong, we hold the line, everything is fine. I, like every mother, read between the lines what is the terrible situation there. I can tell you that jointly with this initiative group of mothers and wives and relatives of defenders of Mariupol, we have been running such actions, such campaigns in Kyiv as well as in various cities to share information about this problem, to get support, because we have to save our husbands, our children. And I have my friend who recently learned, after there was a big pause, that her son was wounded. And of course, you know, previously he would say, Mom, everything is okay, don't worry. But now he wrote to her that he has been wounded and something should be done about it. Dear people, first of all, of course, we ask you and pray for dear President of Turkey, Mr. Erdogan, to act, for Turkey to act as a third party to rescue our defenders, for them to be saved, and those saved people, wounded people to be saved, because now it's not about hours, it's about minutes and seconds. You know, every day people are dying, wounded people are dying there. So please save our defenders. Some more comment? There is a question. I will probably join it. My husband told me that 3 of his friends have been killed, and the girl who prepared documents for our marriage, just before our marriage, her husband who was there with her died. And a comrade in arms who connected, because it's difficult to come from one place to another where there is coverage, where there is connection. He told me that don't wait for messages from my husband. He has been heavily wounded by fragments, so he would not be able to connect. And there is another person who saved the cat and sent that cat to our home. And that person who sent that small little cat to us has lost both legs. He has been heavily wounded. He was online. I have his contacts, and the last time it was on the 8th of May. And my husband told me that Russians have been trying to the maximum extent to shell those buildings where there are wounded defenders. That's the situation there. Next question, please.
Hi, News. And I just wanted to ask if the UN or the ICRC, International Committee of the Red Cross, is still in the region and ready to negotiate or help facilitate their evacuation. And the other question is Erdogan still in contact with the Russian leader? And is there any word on that front? Or are there any other communications that you're aware of for negotiations?
I have a message from my husband saying that UN and ICRC are only interested in civilians. And my husband's comment has been like this: look, we, the warriors, are we third category of people? Are we just some waste? We defended those civilians with our bodies, we covered them with our bodies. We asked them to stay in those shelters, in basements, not to be victims to those heavy shelling. We provided them with food and water as much as possible. At the same time, we, the warriors, the soldiers, are exhausted. You saw photos of my husband before the war and during this war. He has lost 20 kilograms of weight. He has been really exhausted. He has got yellow color of his skin. And he said, unfortunately, the UN and ICRC were only interested in civilians. About the second question, I'm not aware of any information. I saw that somebody wanted. Still, I would allow myself to thank the United Nations. Indeed, even, I know that there were big negotiations with the UN Secretary General who paid a visit here. As a layperson, I just approached their office. And, I just used my friends of friends to contact somebody from the UN, some UN people, somebody from the UN mission, a mission of UN coordinator in Ukraine, and they explained that UN mandate only covers civilians. That's how this world is created. We cannot do anything about it, but at least the fact that they evacuated civilians, we really thank them for that. But there's one fine nuance about wounded people. According to Geneva Convention, they're also not combatants, and those could also be evacuated. But we hope that the UN and ICRC will not stop at what they have already been done. They have already done a lot about civilians, and we hope that they will also get back at least to get wounded people from there. There is another comment from Mother. I'd like to thank everybody present here in this room, everybody who joined his press conference, everybody who cares about the problem of Azovstal and those warriors there and about rescuing them. After the Revolution of Dignity, my son joined Azov regiment. For him, he was very happy to join that unit. He participated in Cherokee operation. There, heroic veterans being there. You saw the pictures, you saw the photos of those people there who lost their arms, their legs, but they continued to hold their arms. The communications with my son broke on the 22nd of March. After that, I know nothing about his fate. But I come to all those actions, all those rallies. I try to support all mothers. We still have our belief, and we fight for our children, and we ask you to do everything possible in your respective countries to rescue our children, our husbands, so that our heroes, and they are heroes, they have been heroes, and they are heroes, and they will be heroes for us, for them to return alive to their homes, to their mothers, to their children, to their wives. Thank you. Any more comment? I'd like to greet everybody present here, and I'd like to say that I'm the mother of a soldier of the 36th Brigade, Nazar Ocheretny. He has been in this war since 2014, since the very beginning of this war. He has had 8 contusions and heavy wound. He had 36 wounds by fragments, and 3 of those fragments remain in his body. I asked him, dear son, maybe you should not go there, that's enough. He said, no, if I don't go there, who should go there? Who will go there? I lost communication with him on the 29th of March. He said, I may be out of coverage for a long time. I need my guys. He's a paramedic. I say, but you know, you have been wounded. It's difficult to look at you. you have been so much exhausted. He said, Mom, I'm the way I should be. I'm healthy because I have my legs and arms. Guys are in a war situation. These were the last his words I heard. Every day I check the Telegram channel. Maybe something will come from him. Maybe something will come. So I ask everybody for help. Mr. Erdogan, please help for them to be evacuated from Azovstal. We cannot believe that in the 21st century it can happen, that they remain there. I am just lacking words, but I ask everybody, please, please help all those guys who remain there, who stayed there. Thank you. Last comment and we will finish. I'm the mother of senior soldier of named Dmitro Kazatsky. He is in the press unit of Azov regiment. He was always very romantic. He was a photographer taking pictures of flowers and all that. Now he is very strong in his spirit and he is very brave and he is proud. He was proud, he tried to join Azov regiment and he managed to join us. And he was always proudly saying, Mom, this is a regiment where everybody is like a brother for each other. We don't have like seniors, smaller officers, soldiers, all people are equal there. Well, that's what he said. And he was taking that last picture of wounded soldiers and he told me, these are the most terrible photos I took in my life. I want these to be the last photos in my war. I only want to make nice, beautiful, happy photos. And we'd like to ask everybody present for disseminating this information. Please, Mr. Erdogan, please, everybody who can help us, please help us save our children, save our husbands, save our parents. They love their country. They are defending us, their relatives. They are defending Ukrainians. They went there proudly. They were saying, we are at the most important place, and now we ask for help. Please ask our strong warriors, help our warriors, our heroes. My son's last name is Kazatsky, like Cossack, and you know, there is this saying, Cossack family will live forever, and I ask you and pray you, please help with whatever you can. Thank you. And then, okay, let's finish. I really ask you, thank you for coming here. I'd like to really ask you, ask everybody to join, to speak about Mariupol. Our guys are the best in this nation, and if they die there, imagine what can be a future for our Ukraine. 3 days before the start of that military action, I was in Mariupol. And my future husband showed me buildings that suffered back in 2014. I were damaged back then. And I got a message from him. He said, Olga, now the whole city looks like those buildings you saw. And if you don't save our guys, in my view, we will not have, Ukraine will not have a bright future. I am asking you, really asking you, please disseminate information. Please engage all those world leaders. I'd like to ask Mr. Erdogan to get involved and become a guarantor, a country who would be a guarantor for the release of our military. Because our military cannot fight against a ship or aircraft if they only have their firearms in their hand. They're also people, they need help. Thank you. I'd like to finish this press conference and to thank all defenders of Mariupol who are there. I'd like to thank the whole garrison of Mariupol, including servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine, the National Guard of Ukraine, the Border Guard Service, the police, and all those who have been holding the line there now. And I'd like to thank all those journalists who raise this issue and share this information worldwide, because indeed we are watching the huge humanitarian catastrophe, violation of all rules of war, and that's the matter. The matter is, humanism should be there. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.